Habakkuk 1. This is the oracle that the prophet Habakkuk saw. So let's go ahead already. We're ready to roll. We're looking up the name Habakkuk. Habakkuk. All right, so the name means embrace. Habakkuk, embrace. This is the oracle that the prophet Habakkuk saw. How, Lord, must I cry for help? But you do not listen. I call out to you violence, but you do not deliver. Why do you force me to witness injustice? Why do you put up with wrongdoing? Does this sound like something that anybody could be crying out today? I cry out for help, Lord, you don't listen. I call out violence, you don't deliver. Why do you force me to witness injustice? Why do you put up with wrongdoing? This is a valid cry. Like, okay, this is applicable to absolutely everyone today. Like, look around. There's violence. There is injustice that is happening. So absolutely, this makes sense. Why would God delay? Habakkuk is crying out. So maybe we are crying out in our own lives as well. So totally think this is relatable. Destruction and violence confront me. Conflict is present, and one must endure strife. For this reason, the law lacks power, and justice is never carried out. Indeed, the wicked intimidate the innocent. For this reason, justice is perverted. So he's talking about the power of corruption that is happening within the system so that nothing is happening the way that it should. Look at the nations and pay attention. You will be shocked and amazed, for I will do something in your lifetime that you will not believe, even though you are forewarned. Okay, so the beginning was the plea of Habakkuk about violence, perverted justice, about all of that going on, and just wanting the God to answer because God hasn't answered. And now in verse 5, God's answering. And his answer is, look at the nations and pay attention. You'll be shocked and amazed, for I'm going to do something in your lifetime. So you ain't going to have to wait long. I'm going to do something in your lifetime that you will not believe, even though you are forewarned. So Habakkuk, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. I'm about to act. It's going to happen in your lifetime. You're not going to believe it. You're going to get to see it. And I'm going to tell you all about it. Look, I am about to empower the Babylonians, that ruthless and greedy nation. They sweep across the surface of the earth, seize dwelling places that do not belong to them. They are frightening and terrifying. They decide for themselves what is right. Their horses are faster than leopards and more alert than the wolves in the desert. Their horses gallop. Their horses come a great distance. Like vultures, they swoop down quickly to devour their prey. Okay. This doesn't sound good. Habakkuk's crying out to God, God, violence is all over the place. I have to constantly watch it. There's corruption everywhere. God's answer is, I'm going to do something that's totally going to be amazing. You know, those ruthless people over there that do whatever they want, that are ungodly, I'm going to take them. And let me tell you about how awesome they are. Terrifyingly, that is. I can't imagine the look on Habakkuk's face like, what? What? But we'll hear what he says. All of them intend to do violence. Every face is determined. They take prisoners as easily as one scoops up sand. They mock kings. They laugh at rules. Like you were just talking about all the people in your country who are laughing at the rules. They laugh at every fortified city. They build siege ramps and they capture them. They sweep by like the wind and pass on. But the one who considers himself a god will be held guilty. We have a but here at the end. But the one who considers himself a god will be held guilty. What do we have in the footnote? And guilty is the one whose strength is his god. Oh, I like that better. That connects more, I think. Considers himself a god will be held guilty. You know, guilty is the one who considers himself his strength as God. Yeah, so we're talking about all the strength of Babylon. That is what they are like. As look at how powerful I am. How could anyone stop me? So Habakkuk cries out to God. God says, I'm going to do something amazing. Or to put it in the words of The Incredibles, that was totally wicked. I'm waiting for something to happen. And so it's gonna happen. I'm gonna use those Babylonians, the nefarious Babylonians, those worthless Babylonians, the terrifying Babylonians. But, they're relying on their own strength. They're gonna be held guilty. The but there is not really encouraging. So Habakkuk says, Lord, you have been active from ancient times, my sovereign God. You are immortal. Lord, you have made them your instrument of judgment, protector. You have appointed them as your instrument of punishment. You are too just to tolerate evil. You are unable to condone wrongdoing. So why do you put up with such treacherous people? Why do you say nothing when the wicked devour those more righteous than they are? You made people like fish in the sea, like animals in the sea, that they have no ruler. The Babylonian tyrant pulls them up with a fish hook. He hauls them in with his thrown net. When he catches them in his dragnet, he is very happy. Okay, so he's going to go into describing it. But I do want to go back to his questions here. Okay, you are just, so he identifies God. You are just to tolerate evil. You are unable to condone wrongdoing. So why do you put up with treacherous people? Why do you say nothing when the wicked devour those more righteous than they are? So he points out a couple of things about God in his reply. You do not tolerate, you are just to tolerate evil, so you can put up with it, waiting for people to repent. I understand all of that, not complaining about that. You're able, but you are unable to condone wrongdoing. So I know you cannot condone wrongdoing. Those people, all they are is wrongdoing. So why? Why do you say nothing when the wicked devour those more righteous than they are? Why do you put up with such treacherous people? God, I don't get this. Those people are awful. Why haven't they got judged? And why are you going to use them to devour us? We're more righteous than they are. So we're more righteous than them, but they're the ones that you're going to use to come and to do things? That's not making sense to me. And so he's talking and questioning what God said to him. I'm going to use the Babylonians. He's questioning that. And he's going to go on about how the Babylonians act. So God described how the Babylonians act. He's going to describe, he's like, people are like fish in the sea. They're animals. They have no ruler. The Babylonian tyrants pull them out in the fish hooks. They take them in and they are very happy. Because of his success, he offers sacrifices to his throw net, and he burns incense to his dragnet. For because of them, he has plenty of food and more than enough to eat. So it's a funny way to describe it. The tools of conquest are the things he worships. Ooh, does that resonate with anything today? Does that resonate with anything today? Powerful nations who trust in their power and might and in the devices of war. I mean, he's describing this as fishing, but the metaphor here is of war and conquest and worshiping the items that bring you the victory that you have, or bring in the catch here in the way that they are. Just look around the globe at any of the battles, any of the wars that are happening and look at, aren't both sides trusting in their weapons to defeat or to repel? He will then continue to fill and empty his throne net. Will he always destroy nations and spare none? So he's not refuting that God could use the Babylonians. He's questioning that God will use the Babylonians because we're more righteous than they are. So why would you use them? And then he does this so callously. Is he going to continue forever? Is he always going to destroy nations and spare none? Will there be no one that is spared from these evil, evil people?